Hey, it's Sasha Evdokov, and thanks for joining me. In this video, what I'd like to share with you is to give you a little bit of a perspective on seeing things slightly different, so that way you're maybe better able to spot things into the future and be able to predict future stock prices a little bit better. Imagine how different your life would be if you were able to predict next week's lottery ticket numbers or even next month's lottery ticket numbers. What things you would do differently in your life and how that would change your life. Now, lottery ticket numbers are very random, or at least they're supposed to be, so it's very difficult to predict those in the future. However, things with like stock prices or human behavior, things that people eat on a day-to-day basis, are usually predictable. If somebody eats a lot of fast food day in and day out, then typically they will eat more fast food in the coming weeks and months to come. And with stock prices, it's also very similar. They relate to human behavior, and this is how price buying and selling really occurs. It's because of human behavior. If people make a ton of money or a lot of fortunes due to profits in the market from a certain stock, eventually that stock pulls back because there's room to take profits. On the flip side, if a stock is selling off very heavily, then there's a point where that stock may actually bounce on a great scale. And that is just because that price becomes very attractive to a lot of value buyers. Now, everybody that's looking at the market has a different view or perspective. They see things differently. One of the greatest investors of our time, Warren Buffett, is able to see things on a much longer perspective. Whereas he may have a multi-decade perspective, a lot of beginner traders may only look at things maybe a week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks out, and then they get caught with that intraday movement in the stock and buy too quick or sell too quick or don't take their profits. So they get caught up in this buying and selling frequency. Whereas Warren Buffett is looking for not just 1 year ahead, but 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years ahead to see where those stocks are going to be in the future. So you got to remember that everyone has a different view and different perspective. And if you're only looking at things on one-sided view or one perspective, you're going to miss on the bigger picture. So you have to keep both aspects in mind based on what your goal is. So I'd like to do a simple little exercise with you to give you some maybe knowledge or some insight to prove this concept to you and share with you how you should really be looking at multiple perspectives before making your trading decisions. So take a look at this photograph and this picture. Now, this picture is a zoomed in version back when I used to do a lot of wedding photography and graphic design. So take a look at it, and can you fill in the rest of the picture or guess what's going to be in the rest of the picture? You can probably think, okay, maybe there'll be some palm trees, there might be some boats, there might be, humans or people running and walking. So take a guess at what's happening. Now, of course, I'm putting and implanting things and ideas into your heads, but if you were to guess what would be the rest of the picture, what would you fill in the gaps with? So think of this zoomed in version as kind of looking at the daily chart or the 10-minute chart or the 30-minute chart. This is a really tight perspective on the market or on the stock. Now, as we zoom out, and let's just say we're looking now at the daily, weekly, or monthly picture of the chart, you can see that this picture comes to life, and now you're able to see, the seagulls and the woman feeding the seagulls, and now you really get to see and understand what's really happening in the picture. So if there's one thing that this exercise proves to you, I hope that you understand that, looking at just one type of chart or looking at just one honed in focus of a chart really isn't going to give you the bigger perspective. Or simply just looking at only charts isn't going to give you, a wide perspective of the overall stock. You have to look at also fundamentals. Typically, great fundamentals, a stock that has great fundamentals usually has great charts, and a stock that has great charts usually has great fundamentals. They work one and one together. But if you don't look at the whole picture, if you don't look at everything, if you're in too tight, looking at things too closely, you're blinded by those nuances. It's kind of like looking at this little piece of a stock chart, and it kind of appears that the stock is going up. But really, this is a retracement. So as we zoom out, you can see that this stock actually, the longer term trend is to the downside. So why would you want to trade against the trend if the trend is pointing downward? There may be a few instances, maybe you're trading and playing a bounce play, or maybe you're playing that little retracement, you're just holding it for a short period of time. But in general, the consensus and the momentum is pushing that stock downward. Me personally, I don't like going against the trend, but if you have a reason to do so, or if you have a reason to trade in the other direction, then at least be clear-minded and looking at all the perspectives, so that way you're seeing the forest and you're also seeing the trees. So all in all, remember that there's short-term views, mid-term views, and longer-term views of the market or your stock. And what you don't want to happen is you don't want to get lost in that shuffle. You don't want to only focus on the shorter-term view if you're also looking to hold a stock for a little bit of a mid-term or a longer-term view for an extended period of time. So look at all aspects of the market. Look at all aspects of the stock prior to making your decision. Don't be blinded like the horse with the blinders and only see that one view or one vision. So remember to look at the daily charts, the weekly charts, the monthly charts, along with how the market overall is doing. How is Europe doing? What's the health? What's the fundamentals to your stock and the overall market? Look at all aspects and put it together. And that's where you have a higher probability or a higher percentage of success. Thanks for sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. And if you're ready to continue and you're already on tradersfly.com, then just continue learning through some of the other lessons that we have available. But if you're not on tradersfly.com, you can go ahead and click this link right up here. When you get there, enter your name and email address, and news, free video lessons, and other great tips will be sent to your email as they are released. But if you want to hang out on YouTube and stick around watching free videos there, then you can click one of the thumbnails below this video and continue learning with me that way. Thanks again for joining me, and remember to do what you love, contribute to others, but most importantly, live life abundantly. I'll see you next time.